Now we've talked a little bit about Firebase. Now it's time for us to talk about Firestore. Well, Firestore is a subset of Firebase. So Firestore is inside, if you will, of Firebase real-time database. Now the beauty of Firestore, there's a lot of advantages here, but the Firestore is what we call a NoSQL cloud database. Now, if you've been following along, you remember when we talk about databases, SQLite. Now, you notice also when we talk about databases, SQLite based databases, if you will, they allow us to create a structured way to save data. So we would have database, and then we have tables, and then inside of tables we have rows and all of that. The thing about SQL-based databases or relational databases is that we always have to go and create all of those entities, all of those tables and rows and everything that goes with it in advance. Now, when we use a NoSQL, as the name implies, we don't need to predefine the structure of our database. In fact, NoSQL gets rid of the entire structure that we come to know as database. With NoSQL, what we call database, we call collection in Firestore. So in database, we have tables. In collections, we have what we call documents. Now, a document essentially allows us to add key value pair fields. Now, this resembles JSON, and there's a reason for that, because it's easier to manipulate, it's easier to query, and it's flexible. Now, let's go ahead and take a closer look at our collection. Our collection, if we look at our collection, in this case, our database, right? But it's called collection in Firestore and NoSQL. Inside of collection, we add documents. For each document we create, we can add a name ourselves. So we can set a name for a document, or we can let the Firestore system to create an ID for each document, like that. Okay? Inside of each document, for instance, the to-do document, we'll have a structure such as this, the key value pairs. Now, the beauty here is that, like I said before, it's easier to manipulate this format of data. And also at this point here, we can keep adding all these different types of other kind of data. So the freedom here is that we can add more different types of data types, different types of data structures as we build our application, right? So we don't have to pre-create all of these tables, do all the things, create the rows and assign everything. We don't need to do that because Firestore and NoSQL cloud database does all of that for us. All we have to do is create a collection, and then inside of collection, create our documents, and then we're set to start putting data inside of our documents. So all those restrictions we had before, we no longer have. And on top of that, we of course have the real-time database functionalities that come with Firestore as well as Firebase. So in the next video, we are going to be using Firestore. Now remember that Firestore is a newer version of Firebase. You can still use Firebase. The same concepts that you will see in Firestore can be applied on Firebase, but with Firestore, we have a little bit more advantage. Number one, we use NoSQL database. There's data synchronizations that are happening. Now we can actually fetch queries faster and efficiently. So the main idea also is that Firestore is designed to scale. So we're going to look at Firestore in the next video.